Hello, welcome to another edition of Chopped Greens. I am your host, Philip Amerine, sitting alongside a very peeved
Luke Wright.
We had an off-air discussion about Rick and Morty last week on how I have declined the option to watch it for now.
Worst decision I've ever heard in my entire life.
Now, it's only it's like third season, right?
The third season hasn't even come out yet.
So then it's only in season 2?
It's finished. Two seasons are over, and we're waiting for season 3. It's supposed to come out, I want to say, next week.
Okay, but I thought it was which one was the one where they dropped it and everybody just went
They dropped, I don't
crazy
know,
over
they
it.
dropped episode 1 of season 3 2 months ago.
Oh.
But that was it. They just dropped the singular episode.
Okay, I see.
And now we're waiting for the rest of it.
Now. Okay, because I was confused. I thought I had heard about the third season. All right. So, speaking of brand new things, hot off the presses or hot off the blogs and Twitter spheres of the world, Ole Miss's Freeze quits. Now, we're of course talking about Hugh Freeze and not Dr. Freeze. And he has resigned effective immediately, the school said today, and Matt Luke, not you, co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, has been installed as the interim coach. Luke, well, just a little bit of your interpretation of the situation as we see it.
Well, shout out to Matt Luke, because my name is Luke, and my dad's name is Matt.
There you go. This is the perfect being as a marriage between both the boys and the Wright family.
Yeah. But
anyways,
my initial reaction was because before he announced his resignation, there was just a random tweet from an insider that I can't remember that I saw on Twitter that basically mentioned big news was about to happen. And next thing I know, Hugh Freeze is resigning. And part of it was a phone call that he had from a university-provided phone to an escort service. And my first thought was how can you be so stupid to do that? One, just the concept of it in general is kind of bad, but to use a phone that your work gave you, that you knew that your work would have access to, and use that to make your very poor life decisions. When you add that along with all of the problems that Ole Miss football program has been facing lately, the term loss of institutional control has been thrown around a little bit. I'm not surprised that this resignation happened today, and I'm not surprised that Ole Miss is was already trying to levy a lesser punishment from NCAA by doing their whole self-imposed bans and whatnot. But I mean, whenever you see something like this in this day and age, it's always just a little surprising.
And athletics director Ross Bork, I'm going to say with the silent J, just said that I saw some heads go down, as you might expect, but I thought they handled it very maturely when talking about the incident that you were referring to. And he wouldn't say how many phone calls were made to numbers similar to the one made to the female escort service or how far back the phone calls went. And he also said that not all of them were connected to different escort services, but that they were similar in nature. So it's very, very shady from a very, very shady college-run football program where football is king in college sports. If you don't have one, you're Duke. That's about it. That's the only, maybe Kentucky, where the university is financed through an athletic program other than football.
UConn.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much of late, but I think in their prime UConn.
But in the entirety of all the universities, you can remember the outliers way more than you can remember the schools, all the schools that are brought forward in financial spirits by football. And it just goes to show you that too much power in one specific sport really does not make a culture better. In fact, we keep seeing it over and over again how completely shady and overpowered the entire football society has become within college sports.
If you really look at it, a lot of places, like you said, that are heavily focused in one sport tend to have at least some sort of shadiness going on. You had Calipari has had issues with the NCAA. Pitino at Louisville has had issues with the NCAA because their football program just recently got good.
And just as an aside, though, I mean, even though, yes, Rick Pitino has had his things and Calipari has had his issues, I would just like to classify those as different issues because Calipari, they're subjective as far as, paying players or what have you, whereas Rick Pitino, that is having a brothel on school is a bit different than paying your students.
Yes, two very different issues.
So I just wanted to classify that into different things.
But I think what that does is also highlight just how great some coaches are, a.k.a. Saban or Coach K, that they have had such
sustained success.
Not just success, but just excellence. And you've never really heard a peep out of Duke or Alabama in terms of anything, whether it be as bad as a Pitino
from those specific sports. Duke did have the lacrosse team incident, and it's been kind of bantered about. But to your point, Duke basketball, which it's known for, has been squeaky clean, as well as Alabama's had allegations, but nothing directly sticking to it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a real testament to them as well. I'm curious to see what happens to Ole Miss going forward.
Now, there's been shady stuff about Ole Miss before this. Let's not forget Ole Miss's history as far as we see Laramie Tunsil being completely put to the felt, as in poker terms, as his draft night came to pass, and just how a lot of the allegations that were put forth against him were also a black mark unto Ole Miss as a whole, and how it brought a light unto the entire organization, or not organization, the entire school, and how they have been paying their players for years, and it's been rippling underneath the tide there that's something that's been going on, but nobody's just been able to prove it until recently. And I hate that these schools and these coaches can get away. Well, not the schools. I'll stick it to the coaches. But I hate that Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, now Freeze will probably go somewhere else. And of course, we've seen Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. And the punishments inflicted are punishable to the school. Stick to the school and stick to the athletes who don't necessarily have anything to do with it, and they're the ones who are affected by it, but yet the coaches themselves, the ones who are in a supervising role and have probably the most onus on a situation transpiring, they're leaving the check for somebody else to foot the bill. And it's just completely infuriating when you also limit players to movement as well. When they can't leave the situation and you're saying, no, you're stuck to taking this punishment on the chin for something you either weren't at the school for and you've already committed to, or you were not even aware because you were the third kicker on the team. It's just incredibly infuriating.
It is, but I do think the NCAA has allowed for in situations like this, when they dole out their punishment, a lot of times they do allow at least some sort of way out, especially most notably with Penn State. Penn State had all of their essentially almost a death sentence, and then
self-inflicted?
No, NCAA.
No, that's right. I'm thinking of another team.
But then they said also, if any current player wants to leave, you will get an absolute no questions asked transfer to wherever you want. You won't have to sit out the year. And honestly, I think that is a very demoralizing. That's the most demoralizing part when you think about kids having to transfer. Is there was most notably, I can't remember his name, but there was a student trying to transfer out of a school, and the school denied all 36 of the places he wanted to be transferred to. And in my opinion, there's literally no reason for a school to have that right. Listen, if you're clearly not playing him, he's clearly unhappy, he's a legal citizen, you have no right to say you have to stay here and you have to do this. No, if he's leaving your school, your education, and wants to go to a different program, he shouldn't have to ask for your permission on which programs he's allowed to transfer to and from. And I think you see that a lot because coaches don't have that restriction. If coaches want to leave, they can leave. If ADs want to leave, they can leave. You see the NCAA a lot of times punish students and programs more than individual people. And part of that, as you kind of hear, is that's because all the NCAA has authority over is to punish the organizations themselves. And so I think that you need a real discussion between universities and conference heads about like, hey guys, maybe we should stop hiring people like a Carroll or a Patino or people who have these very, very bad backgrounds who really need some sort of punishment that the NCAA can't give.
Right. And just for fact checking over here, Bill Snyder of Kansas State denied. I just had him. Corey Sutton. It was the player who was denied, who had a list of 35 blocked schools.
And that's just crazy. And Bill Snyder's almost always highly regarded among college football coaching, but it's time for him to retire. He's like 93 billion years old.
I will have to look that one up as well, but that could be a fact check error.
I think you could just take my word on it.
Speaking of old within their profession, Derrick Rose. I'm just gonna go here, and I know nothing's set in stone. And by the time this podcast comes out, I'm sure he'll have signed somewhere to a $27 million 1-year deal. But let's go there. Derrick Rose has had a successful, where both sides felt great about the discussion, talk with the Lakers. And then sources have come out today saying Rose and the Cavaliers have engaged in, quote, serious talks. Luke Wright, why do we care? Why is it that Derrick Rose, Mr. Nobody can trust my knees. Luke
Worse
Wright,
than mine.
Yes, to be fair, worse than yours. Athletic point guard with no athleticism. Why do we care about Derrick Rose?
I don't. I personally don't understand why everyone loves him so much. He never really was able to develop a shot to the point of being able to rely on it. Like you said, he was a point guard that relied on athleticism, but he doesn't have athleticism anymore. He does stuff like leaves the team in the middle of the season without telling anybody. Like, that alone, I would think, would disqualify him from any major deals.
Insubordination?
That's just childish. Like, he literally left an entire team, didn't tell anybody, didn't tell a coach or teammates or anybody. He just left to go deal with this whatever issue. I think it was a family issue. And I'm not saying he didn't have a good reason for leaving. I just don't know that reason because he didn't tell anybody.
And let me play devil's advocate here, Luke. The Cavs are believed to be offering Rose a minimum contract for $2.1 million, probably to play the Darren Williams role, hopefully better, knock on wood, but playing that backup point guard to spell Kyrie Irving here and there for a bit. Does that do anything for you? In a reduced role, not being a starter, does that do anything for you?
No, it doesn't, because I don't think that Derrick Rose is good enough for a reduced role. There are a couple different types of players when it comes to whether or not they can excel in a off the bench role. And to me, Derrick Rose isn't one of those kinds of players. He's one of those players who needs a ton of minutes to be able to get into a rhythm and to be able to maintain that rhythm. If you're just coming off the bench for short periods of time, especially someone like him who doesn't have a consistent jumper, you're never going to get into your rhythm. He's literally going to be almost exactly like Williams, but at least Williams had two knees that worked. And again, I don't think he'd be good in LA either, because all you're doing there is taking minutes away from Lonzo. There's nothing that Rose can teach Lonzo that would benefit from Lonzo losing minutes to Rose.
Okay, so last year, in the offseason of last year, 1 year ago today, let's assume Derrick Rose was still in the Bulls. I thought that contract was absolutely untradeable. Nobody was going to touch that contract. Who would be stupid enough to... Oh, wait.
Phil Jackson.
It came to me like a lightning bolt on it was on Twitter. It was in the moments. That's a lightning bolt that came to me, and all of a sudden I was proven wrong once again by the crazy insanity of the Knicks. So my question to you would be, and I have a team if you don't, but which team do you think would best fit Derrick Rose at this point in his career? We're talking, not much above the $2.1 million, somewhere around that $2 to $5.5 million range.
Where would be the best fit for him?
Yeah.
If I had to say anything, maybe the Clippers.
That is so weird, but that was exactly where I was thinking. I'm not even joking. Just the way that they will need a spell for Patrick Beverley, he'll be a complete switch as far as what teams are looking at in coercion with Patrick Beverley. He'll come off and spell him for a bit, and they'll be dealing with two different types of point guards. That particular team now, without Chris Paul, will need as many ball handlers as they can afford. And I do think that he would play substantial minutes, not in quantity, but in quality, as far as maybe him and Patrick Beverley can have a 50-50 tag team there of just, okay, I'll cover your back, you cover mine now. We need a bit of a defensive stop here. Now let's go and get some offensive, points.
That they're a good team for him because, like you said, they need another ball handler right now.
And Doc.
Yeah.
Doc really knows how to play with the veterans.
He does. But I think that D. Rose could benefit not just from lesser minutes, but he can still play enough minutes to get that rhythm with Patrick Beverley because you don't necessarily need to swap the two out. Mm-hmm. I think they'd be very good if you put them in the same backcourt, kind of like what you did with Beverley and Harden, is you can have D. Rose there to try to carry the offense while Patrick Beverley helps out and kind of hides him defensively. Because at this point, D. Rose, I think, is capable of playing defense, but he probably, at this stage in his career, is not going to be playing a lot of it.
All right, so just follow me here. Just hear me out.
Okay.
Tom Thibodeau, their general manager.
Okay. No.
They just signed Jeff Teague. All they've got is Tyus Jones coming off the bench. Derrick Rose to the Timberwolves. Why does that not work, Luke?
First of all, I think Tyus Jones needs the minutes. I really like Tyus Jones coming out of college.
Okay.
And I think that he needs to be able to be that backup.
Duke, right?
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Tanner, who's also a huge Duke fan. Sure, he loves Tyus.
The Dukies.
And I just don't think Derrick Rose, first of all, you don't understand this.
Oh, I don't.
But when you have bad knees, going to a place like Minnesota in the winter, terrible idea.
I was thinking you were going to go the opposite way as far as going to play for Tom Thibodeau.
I mean, that's also not a great idea. But specifically, cold and bad knees do not mix well together. So I just, in general, I don't think it'd be a good fit. I think that Minnesota knows what they're doing. They have a young, talented core, and adding an old, injury-prone veteran who can't even really help you in terms of mentoring or winning culture is not what you need.
Speaking of what we don't need in culture, that's probably the worst segue I've ever had as far as what it pertains to in the next segment. But O.J. Simpson today, you knew I was going here too.
Yeah.
You knew it. It was a slow crash and burn. But O.J. Simpson, the news came crashing down today. Everybody talked about it at work, around the water cooler. We actually do have one at my work, and
Same.
Yeah, and everybody was talking about O.J. Did you hear O.J. got out for parole. He'll be released in October. Barring any setbacks, which could happen.
That was knocking on wood.
That was me knocking on wood. That was not a sound effect, believe it or not. We're not that advanced quite yet. But OJ, I found an interesting article which pointed out that O.J. Simpson might have made more than $600,000 during his 8+ years in prison. So there's a chance that he could be making more than $500,000 as soon as he steps out. My question from the NFL pension. So he's been, collecting these checks but not cashing them. Luke, how do you feel about little OJ?
I think this is a generational gap thing. Because I know that when decades before me and you were born, OJ was a movie star. And decades before that, he was the first person to ever rush for 2,000 yards in a season with a shorter season compared to what they have now. Only one to do it in like 14 games.
And he only played 10 years in the league, 1969 to 1979.
Yeah. So I understand that, yes, at the time he was as big of a superstar as you could possibly be. But I just don't care. I don't care about O.J. Simpson at all. I don't care in the slightest. I don't care at all. When he got sentenced to jail for the robbery, I didn't care. When I heard he was having a parole meeting, I didn't care. I knew he would be released because it's O.J. Simpson and everybody over the age of 40 somehow has this weird love for him. But I just didn't care.
You know why you don't care, Luke? And it's as simple as this. It's because OJ is a thing. It's kind of like Pokemon Go, right? Who cares except Pokemon Go was a thing? Who cares about fidget spinners except fidget spinners are a thing? The reason why you care about OJ is because he's remained relevant in pop culture because of the mystery surrounding him, because of the enigma that is OJ. In fact, I would argue that he's become the most prolific football player in notoriety. As far as football players, right now he's up there with Tom Brady, but I would say longevity. He's probably more people would know O.J. Simpson's name than Joe Montana, the person that everybody thinks Tom Brady just surpassed as the GOAT. Same with Jerry Rice. And the reason why I say that is because not only is it evidenced by 2 shows coming out this past year, both of which have won multiple Emmy Awards, and one of which won an Oscar as far as a documentary, OJ Made in America from ESPN. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that the generation most affected by that hearing, by that trial, by that case, is now in positions of power to where their opinion matters. And it's because their opinion matters and that it's re-coming up that it will now reverberate and go to the next generation. Now, past that, who knows? But I still believe that since it was the famous case in American history, just as far as popularity, as being televised, as being seen in a courtroom for the entire public with twists and turns galore, the fact that it was so public, that it concerned such a prolific figure, considered by the fact that at the time it centered around two of America's then most famous incidents that you can have as far as nightly news. One, a car chase, and 2, murder. You add any of those, that's a full slate of nightly news. You add both of that into one case, absolute hullapalooza, including that he created a dream team of attorneys at the time. It's just the entire thing melded into one crock-pot jambalaya stew of amazingness that is now created OJ Hullapalooza, and as soon as he talks, he will shatter that Hullapalooza, and it'll be interesting to see what he does now that he's free, now that he's out, whether or not he is able to live a normal life and be living with that enigma and that persona that has now been morphed into the OJ we now know and fear, or whether or not he can maintain a somewhat normal life in seclusion.
Have you seen the theory? And it's not really a theory, it's actually kind of fact. It's like a butterfly effect thing.
Kind of fact, okay.
That O.J. Simpson is the reason why the Kardashians are famous?
I have not. I can't say I realize the connection, but...
Or more specifically, the Buffalo Bills. So what happened back the year before the OJ was drafted, the Bills had to only win 1 extra game. That's all they had to do. But they did it. They lost the amount of games they lost, and they drafted O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson went to Buffalo, And that basically led to a string of events where he would eventually meet the Kardashians, who would then eventually represent him in his case, which eventually led to the Kardashians being famous, which led to what we have now. That's why I hate OJ more than anything else.
Oh my god.
He made the Kardashians famous.
He made the Kardashians famous for nothing more, and all off of his back of doing something.
If it was like living in Buffalo is where he met like his wife, who eventually was murdered and whatnot. So it's just a simple fact of if somebody could have just lost to Buffalo that year, then OJ would have never been drafted, and we could have avoided this whole hullabaloo.
Well, you would have been drafted.
Okay, but he wouldn't have gone to New York to meet his future wife. And
yeah, let's see. Probably would have gone to the Jets. He would have been more crazy sooner. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's interesting to see the snowball effect of how one's life can turn into something, how that affects anything else, and how you can pinpoint it to one point in time moving forward.
If this one thing didn't happen.
All right, so we are going to go directly to Give Me 5 right after this commercial break, and let me tell you, Luke, you're going to want to hop on the desk for just how crazy these questions are going to be, all right? I'm guaranteeing you by the end of these questions, you will be mad. You will be Luke Wright ranting and berating me for asking such a question, but
I think I do that every week.
That's true, but this will be noteworthy. This will be in the outtakes by the end of the year. So I will see you right after this.
Red Ribbon Realty Group at HomeSmart is a full-service real estate team of Phoenix natives with over 15 years of experience in the industry. When you work with them, you have 2 full-time realtors representing your best interests throughout your entire transaction, whether you are selling, buying, or renting. They also believe in supporting their community. Use code word chopped greens, and Red Ribbon Realty Group will donate 15% of their net commission from your transaction to the nonprofit charity of your choice. Visit their website at www.redribbongroup.com and find them on Facebook. You can also email them at info@redribbongroup.com or call them at 602-888-6638. Red Ribbon Realty Group. Trust, commitment, home.
So I'm loving the goatee that our viewers are unfortunately not able to see right now. How long is this phase gonna last?
Oh, well, before I got into the food biz, I had my goatee. There's photos of it on Facebook.
He couldn't even say the word goatee. He had to stroke it. He had to put his fingers upon his lips before he was even able to say the word goatee. Before I was goatee.
Why else would you have a goatee if you can't do this?
Yes.
Do that. Like, it's great.
Right.
But I used to have one, and then eventually the places I worked with that involved food were like, yeah, you can't have that anymore. And now Pizza Hut allows me to have a goatee after a certain length. And so when I went to London, I grew out the full beard, and then I cut it into the goatee.
Okay. So that's very interesting that they will not accept mid-growth, but they'll accept it fully there.
I think it was just a matter of that was like their compromise.
Oh, okay.
Is because originally they let full beards, but it was too much of a health hazard, and people weren't wearing the things they needed to wear. Right. So they're like, you know what? No beards.
No beards. Just keep the goatees. Stay thirsty, my friends. All right. Luke, we are now at Give Me 5, the part of the show where I've got 5 questions for you. You've got 5 questions for me. We don't know what they are, but we will answer them.
Honestly?
Yes, that's correct. Now, would you like to go first or second today, Mr. Luke?
I'm going to go second today.
Fantastic. I'll start us off strong. All right. If you watched Sunday's premiere of Game of Thrones Season 7... Then you probably recognized Ed Sheeran's cameo as a Lannister soldier.
I did.
Ed also sang a little tune in his cameo, which was fantastic, albeit short. But the decision to cast Ed's small role wasn't random. It was all part of showrunner David Benoit's plan when he realized Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark, is an enormous fan of Ed's. Quote, we knew that Maisie was a big fan of Ed Sheeran, and for years we've been trying to get him on the show so he can surprise Maisie, Benoit told Entertainment Weekly, but this year we finally did it, end quote. Luke, As Game of Thrones returns to a multitude of people's delight, I want you to give me the Luke Wright official top 5 television shows of all time. We'll compare them. We'll go down the list. Number 5 to number 5, 4.
Oh, so I have to go from 5 to 1?
Of course.
Oh, now you're making this hard for me. I had 5.
Yeah, just like 5 extraneously.
But I didn't think I had to like.
Oh no, this is you line up your 5 best friends and then going down the list you kick them in the butt, and except for one.
Joke's on you. I don't have 5 friends.
There you go.
Add a little depressing humor to this podcast.
Well, just give me 5.
Okay.
Right there. That was pretty good.
I'm gonna leave now.
All right, number 5.
Number 5. Now that I have to quickly rank these, I think I'm probably gonna say How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, excellent choice.
Yeah, I know some people. I personally like Ted. I know a lot of people hate Ted, but I like him. I think the show was great in terms of humor and also having some originality. I know some people like to call it a Friends ripoff.
It was a modern Friends, but it was good.
Yeah, but
good.
I think there were enough unique storylines to where, stuff like the goat on the 30th birthday and stuff like that. It made it its own unique thing.
Yeah, it was for the times. It slowly, even within the first season, couple seasons, it's been dated. But as it moves on, it's good. Mm-hmm. My number 5 is SpongeBob. I tried to mix up my. I know. As he looks back in disgust, it gets better.
Not even disgust. I was just surprised.
Right. I tried to mix it up and get kind of all genres represented. And as cartoons go, it's my favorite cartoon. So number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me. This isn't exactly a TV series.
Okay.
It's more of a mini series from HBO.
Okay.
Band of Brothers.
Okay.
It was a 10-part mini series that they did. Had a lot of great characters that was based off of true stories, true events of World War II paratroopers. It's something I love. I rewatch it every now and then. It's a great show.
I thought you were going to say every night. And
I wish.
Number 4 for me, House of Cards. Just Kevin Spacey.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, you will not be able to watch that show without walking away with a heavy southern drawl and a power trip. All right, your turn. Number 3.
Number 3, I think I'm going to go Doctor Who. Simply because of how long it's been going on and being able to craft different storylines, albeit some of them are a little too out there, but when you've been going on for as long as it has been, I mean, you kind of have to go out of left field.
Close to 6 years, right?
Not like consecutively running, but yes, the show started, I want to say, like 50-something years ago. Yeah.
Interesting. You just really quick. You enjoying the female Doctor?
I haven't. I'm still like a season behind.
Oh, okay.
So I still need to see the last episodes of Capaldi. I don't have a problem with it being a female Doctor. Yeah. If you honestly do have a problem with it, then you aren't really a fan of the show because you don't accept the main themes of the show.
Just a different Doctor. I hear.
It's stupid to hate the show. Oh, they're doing a female Doctor.
All right, number 3 for me, The Office. Just fantastic. Just set the bar for comedy ever since its inception, just for me. All right, number 2 for you. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here.
I think I'm gonna go Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
It was a great show that I found hilarious. It's one of those shows I'll rewatch whenever I'm kind of feeling bored. And,
you do seem like a Ron Swanson.
Oh my God! Of course I am. Like that's the epitome of who I wish I could be.
Eat bacon every day.
I like to think that I am a mixture between Ron and Andy. I feel like I'm a little more lighthearted.
Okay.
Like that Andy, but I have a lot of Ron in me.
I thought you were going to say you have a lot of hidden gold just buried somewhere.
I mean, I'm not going to announce that over a podcast.
Of course. All right, number 2 for me is Frasier. For those of...
oh, my God.
Come on, it's
now
a
this
classic.
is disgusting.
What is
if you say number 1 is Seinfeld, I will legitimately leave.
That is awful. Okay. It's been horribly dated for me, Seinfeld. Okay. So anyways, all right, number 1.
Game of Thrones.
I figured that was going to make its way in here for you.
I loved it. I was late to the party, but I watched...
A lot of people were.
Yeah, I watched all 6 seasons within the span of like a week and a half. So for me, they all just kind of blur together. And I've just loved it so much.
All right. Number 1 for me, Breaking Bad.
Never saw it.
Oh, that one is a great blend. That is just the longest movie you've ever seen, but you enjoy every minute of it. All right, fantastic. Your turn, Mr. Wright.
Okay, my first question is a question of what would you most want to watch? Now, a lot of people have made mention of a few upcoming things that they're very excited to watch. Most notably, Michael Phelps versus a shark in terms of swimming for Shark Week. So I'm going to give you 3 things that might happen but probably won't. And I want you to tell me which one that you would want to watch the most.
Is this for free or do I have to pay?
We'll say for free.
Okay.
Just for the sake of argument. Number 1, an all-star game where everyone takes it seriously. They all go 100%. Whatever sport you would want to see that most. For me, it'd be basketball. To see the all-stars actually give effort.
Forget that. I'd go UFC all-star game.
I don't think that that's a thing.
That
is
would
the problem.
be in my world.
I think
Continue.
Anyways, 2, LeBron James in a dunk contest. Assuming he's pretty much in his prime.
Okay.
And number 3, Bobby Flay versus Gordon Ramsay Iron Chef Cook-Off.
Ooh. See, okay. I really respect and admire your last choice. My problem with it is that it would be limited. So it's whoever can make the best biscuits or whoever can make the best steak, and
It's not how Iron Chef works.
well, I know it's 3 courses, but that's still to me. I would want to see them go on for a season. That would be fantastic. So
Well, this is all...
Yeah.
You're not going to see a season of all-star games. But I understand what you're saying.
It's not enough to quench my thirst.
In all honesty, though, I'd also pay money to see an entire season of just Bobby Flay and Gordon Ramsay.
That would be fine. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I just can't say any other quotes because they get a little dirty. All right. Anyways, though, so that's a strong number 2 if it was just longer. But besides that, I'd probably go with the favorite, the All-Star game. Just
Where people actually take it
where
seriously.
people actually take it seriously, because on its face value, that's like the Olympics, where you would hope that everybody takes it seriously and plays.
But the U.S. isn't destroying everybody by 50 points.
Right. I was thinking more along the lines of maybe hockey, something along those lines. But yes. But really good question there.
Bobby Flay and Gordon Ramsay is my number.
I figured. And it's definitely just if it had a little bit longer sizzle and a little less burn. All right. Earlier this year, J.K. Rowling announced that she is giving the world a Harry Potter exhibit about the history of magic in celebration of the 20-year anniversary of the series, which will be featured at the British Library. But there's more. Harry Potter fans are also getting 2 new Harry Potter books that will coincide with this magical exhibit. First up, there will be Harry Potter, A History of Magic, which, quote, promises to take readers on a fascinating journey through the subjects studied at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and Harry Potter, A Journey Through the History of Magic, that's reportedly, quote, packed with unseen sketches and manuscripts pages from J.K. Rowling, along with other fun tidbits, end quote. Luke, how long before the wizarding world of Harry Potter expands past its boundaries, and do you see the Harry Potter world growing into the same realm as the Star Wars / Marvel universe?
So repeat the first question.
First one. How long before the wizarding world of Harry Potter expands past its boundaries?
Never. It's literally the exact same premise, Lord of the Rings, and that stuff's been going on the past 70 years. So I think that it's going to be... The only difference is that JK is still alive, and she's currently putting out things almost equivalent to the Silmarillion of the Lord of the Rings universe. And what was the second one?
Second one, how long before and do you see the Harry Potter world growing into the same realm as Star Wars and the Marvel DC universes?
I think it already is.
Oh.
Like I said, they are already... If you go on Pottermore, JK's official site for Harry Potter things, she's already doing some of this stuff. This isn't anything new. She just continues to expand on it. The fact that we've already seen movies in the Harry Potter universe that aren't Harry Potter, I think, is proving that. It was a successful movie that's getting a sequel.
Yeah, Fantastic Beasts actually did really well at the box office and will become its own trilogy, I believe. So
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. So, I mean, I think it's already getting there, and I think the more that people explore the universe on their own, just the farther out it'll go. And I don't think it's ever going to end.
yeah, I wonder if some company will buy JK out just like Lucas, they did with Lucas, and kind of just expand and expand.
I think if it does happen, it won't for a long time.
Yeah.
But it would be very expensive.
Oh, well, I mean, Lucas was what?
I think
$4 billion, $5 billion?
I think it'll be more expensive than Lucas.
Really?
Yes.
That's an interesting take by Luke Wright. Hot take.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Mark it down, put on your calendars.
At least $6 billion for Harry Potter.
I could see it.
All right, your turn.
Okay, so number 2 is I have a fun little game for us to play.
Ooh.
And it's called Who Was the Better Rookie?
Okay.
I'm going to give you some groups of NBA players. They were all rookies the same year. And I'm going to have you pick which one you think was Rookie of the Year that year.
Okay, there we go.
That way we have an objective way to determine best rookie.
Sounds good. Because last year was just ridiculous. Anyways, continue.
So the first year we're doing is the year 2000. And here are your three
Candidates?
candidates.
Okay, hit me.
Jamal Crawford, Kenyon Martin, Mike Miller.
Mike Miller, Kenyon Martin, and
Jamal Crawford.
Jamal Crawford. Wow, I think that title went to... you know what? I'll do it. I'll stick with Jamal Crawford.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Wrong. Mike Miller.
Wow. Okay.
And I think that one might have been one of the easier ones.
Okay. I'm ready to fail miserably here.
Here's number 2 from the year 2001. These aren't all going to be sequential.
Okay, sounds good.
Joe Johnson, Pau Gasol, Tony Parker.
Ooh. That is a tough one.
Yeah.
Oh, see, the thing is, I remember Marc Gasol was not good in his first 5 years, whereas Pau was, which is what led to the Lakers trade. And unconsequential, the Lakers gave the Grizzlies their center for the next 10 years with Marc Gasol. So I don't think it was him. And Joe Johnson, he was on those Phoenix teams. I just don't remember how much of if when Nash got there versus when he wasn't there. And who was my third choice?
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker. I'll go with Tony Parker.
Wrong again. It was Pau Gasol.
All right.
This year,
It's probably with Memphis.
2006. LaMarcus Aldridge, Brandon Roy, Rudy Gay.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Rudy Gay.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Wrong. Brandon Roy.
I knew it wasn't whoever the heck the other one was.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
LaMarcus Aldridge, yeah. He blossomed.
2004. Emeka Okafor, Dwight Howard, Andre Iguodala.
Oh, why do you do this? Why do you do this, Luke?
You know
Wright?
what's crazy is 3 and 4, and I think even 2 I could have made so much harder too. Like there were significant.
Emeka Okafor, Dwight Howard, Andre Iguodala. See, now I remember Dwight obviously was the number 1 pick in that draft, but Andre was probably the only piece on that 76ers team at the time. Oh wait, I wonder if Allen Iverson was there or on his way out. I think I'm gonna make.
Remember, Iverson didn't end his.
I know he went to the Nuggets. I just don't remember at what point. Oh wait, that's 2006. He was long gone.
No, this one's 2004. The last one was 2006.
Okay. So then I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? I'll die by the Emeka Okafor, since that is just the most randomest name you could have picked.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Correct.
Okay.
But Emeka Okafor was really good for the first
For the first year.
Oh, for the first I'd say 7 or 8 years, he averaged a double-double. He was a pretty good player.
Yeah, kind of like Kwame Brown for the Lakers.
No, Kwame Brown was trash from the get-go.
I mean, yet they wanted him in Memphis. All right, your turn.
Last one. Now, because this one is a historically great,
Ooh, don't you do this.
historically
Don't you
great
do this.
draft class, I'm throwing in 5. But it's one of those things where if you remember, you remember. So you're either going to get this immediately or there's a very good chance you're going to get it wrong.
If you're doing the year, I think you are. I don't remember.
All 5 of these players are Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
1996.
Oh. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
Did you think I was doing
I thought you were
83?
doing the LeBron James, or the James draft.
LeBron James?
Yeah.
03?
Yeah.
No, that's because LeBron James won. I could have done that
Yeah,
one, but I thought it'd be too obvious.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember if Melo upset him or not. Okay, there we go. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Stephon Marbury. 5 Hall of Famers. Marbury, granted, mostly with China, but still.
All right, let's go down that list. Steve Nash, I don't believe he did because he played really bad, or at least bad enough to not get a second contract with whoever he was on first.
He
went to the
Nash
Mavericks?
was with Dallas, or was with Phoenix.
And then he went to the Mavericks.
Then he
back
was
to
traded to Dallas.
Right, that's what
and
I
then
thought.
got traded back.
Okay.
So I don't think he ever officially went through free agency.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to go with Kobe. I think he was... I don't even think he started the first year, so it's not Kobe. I know that. Give me the other 3 outside of Nash and Kobe.
You have Stephon Marbury, Ray Allen, and then Allen Iverson.
I don't know that the answer was that prolific his first year, and I'm going to go with Stephen Marbury.
Going with the Chinese Hall of Famer as your final answer?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. The answer was prolific his rookie year. Allen Iverson took the Rookie of the Year honors for the 1996 class.
I thought he boomed his second year. All right, fantastic.
Kobe Bryant did not become a starter until I believe his 3rd year.
Yeah, he was way down the depth chart. I remember that. All right, let me see here. So, Luke, the poker bug has bitten me once again, and as such, I've been researching and watching videos on poker and poker players. However, I came across an old episode of Poker After Dark. For those of you who don't know what it was / is, because it's coming back.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's coming back.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. It's a television show that's centered around a table full of notable poker players, and it aired at night. So
Most of the time, notable poker players.
And they all would talk and play at the same time. You mostly came there for the conversations more than the actual poker play. So sometimes you got good hands. Anyways, I was watching one old episode, and World Series of Poker champion Johnny Chan disclosed the information of how he came to America. He and one of his brothers and a friend of his were all on a raft trying to make contact with a rescue boat to take them to land. However, during the trip, Chan's brother got pretty sick, so much so that they didn't know if he'd make it. It was in that boat that they all agreed that if the brother died, they would give him a day before they ate him. Luke, my question to you is simple. Could you ever bring yourself to eat a family member? In these types of conditions, survival.
I was not expecting this question
to go that way. Yes.
Oh my god! This came out of left field.
I gave you the poker bluff.
Oh my god!
Laid down 7-2 offsuit there. Make no sense. But anyways, could you eat a family member if survival instincts were necessary? Apparently, they had enough rations for only 2 days, and it took them 10 days waiting at sea for this rescue boat to come that was just kept coming and coming, and he got sick. They didn't have enough water, so it was pretty dire until the rescue boat finally came. And
I will say probably. It's one of those things where I think that if it's between eating them or dying, I think I could do it, but
also keep in mind you're in a raft. That is
so I have to be in his exact situation.
Yeah.
Then I'm not sure because if I have to just eat raw body parts, I'm not hundo on that. Not 100%.
You're probably starving.
I think I might
try a finger or something.
But I definitely wouldn't. I definitely
you wouldn't be
not.
the first one on that boat day one. All right, somebody's gonna have to die here, so sacrificing themselves. Yeah. All right, sounds good. Your turn, Luke.
Well, on a little bit of a more serious note, we found out...
It's going more serious than that.
It's going more serious than that.
Okay, all right, here we go.
The lead singer of Linkin Park, Chester, was found dead at his house. Suicide. They believe that he hanged himself. And
Hail, fellow well met.
And I don't know how you grew up. I grew up a huge Linkin Park fan.
I was more of an Usher fan, but this week wasn't too good for him either. So
Yeah.
got the herps.
Not sure why that was appropriate at all to make right now.
You were asking me about my musical history.
Oh my
I'm sorry.
God. Wow.
I've never seen Luke more red than right now.
That was just...
No, I'm saying Usher had the herbs, not Chester.
I know.
Okay.
Why do you think that's any more appropriate when having a conversation about a man who just killed himself?
I was just, in the context of where we were and bringing the history of how we came to be the musical lovers that we are now. Usher's, he did not have a good week.
Anyways, my question to you is, what is your favorite Linkin Park song? Mine was always In the End.
He stole me. But, I was going to go with In the End. Hit the Floor was just always like you need a good pump-up, push-up song, That's pretty good. But it's a little screamy for me. So I'm going to go with In the End.
Grossly inappropriate story.
You're still thinking of Usher, huh?
Yes.
I'm sure she was too. All right, Bill Belichick's coaching tree is interesting, but it pales in comparison to his family tree, which features several prominent figures who helped shape American culture as we know it. Amateur genealogist Jim McNiff recently dug deep into Belichick's ancestry and discovered that the New England Patriots head coach has ties to many famous Americans. Luke, I'm going to give you a name, and I want you to tell me whether or not, somehow down the line, if Bill Belichick is related to them or not. Are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
Fantastic. I've got 10 names for you.
Oh, my God.
So we're going to have a bit of both here. All right, Playboy founder Hugh Hefner. Is he related to Bill Belichick or not?
Absolutely. There's no way Belichick's not related to Hugh.
He may not be a player on the field, but he's got player in, and Bill Belichick is absolutely related to Hugh Hefner.
Oh, yes.
Next one, Steve Martin.
I'm going to say no.
That is absolutely false, so you're 2 for 2 here. Going up next, up in the ante, Stevie Wonder.
I'm going to go yes. There's some weird connection there.
Absolutely false. I knew I'd rake you out with that. Just because you didn't want to seem going on the right train. All right, Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Absolutely true. He is absolutely related to the Feelin' Lucky punk.
I'd love to see just how related these...
Yeah, I'm sure it's the second niece's daughter's great dead grandfather. All right, but however, Warren Buffett.
No.
He absolutely is. Warren Buffett, true. So, next one, Grover Cleveland.
Yes.
Absolutely true. Very well done. Ashton Kutcher.
Yes.
Absolutely false. Completely made that
That
one
one was more just me hoping.
Yeah, just hoping it was true. Macaulay Culkin.
No.
No, that is correct. I completely made that one up. I was thinking you would think it's so far out of left field. How would I come up with Macaulay Culkin? But
yeah, you went with that with Stevie Wonder, and
it worked.
It worked.
Just didn't hit the sidewinder on you twice there. William Taft.
No.
He absolutely is. He is related to 2 former presidents. Crazy. Wonder about Barack Obama. Anyways, Frank Sinatra, last one.
Yes.
Absolutely false. Threw that one in there as filler.
That was sad.
All right, your turn, Luke Wright. Who's
Okay.
half wrong, half right. Those puns will never die until the podcast does, which could be soon.
Wow. Thanks for dropping that bomb on me during the podcast. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk lately, both in Phoenix and in the country, of stadiums.
Okay.
Getting new stadiums.
Oh, yes.
Somewhere new for the Coyotes to play. Somewhere either...
Yes, just got a new president.
Yeah. Either
Congratulations.
new owner and new president. And new head coach, I believe. And
confirmed.
The head coach, yes. Owner, it's not new, but he bought everybody else out. But my question to you is, are you okay when multi-billionaires come to the city asking them for public funding for their stadiums?
In theory, yes. It really is. I hate to pun on it, but it really is a situation by situation. Some of these teams are family-owned teams, and as rich as their value might be, that's not all in liquid assets. It's kind of a financial, lesson here. But just as a quick aside of the Oakland Raiders owner, I can't remember, Mr. Bowcut himself.
Davis.
Yeah, Mark Davis.
I think it's Mark Davis.
Mark Davis. Essentially, all of his wealth comes from that team. So I don't see him. I mean, he's nowhere near Stan Kroenke, who, on the flip side, I have a problem of him going to the owners and asking for help on the stadium, which he did not do. He's funding that himself. So kudos to him. But I'm saying Mark Davis as an owner whose entire financial wealth is tied up to the one franchise, I can understand why they would need help and how they would need a coalition. Same goes with the Los Angeles Lakers, perhaps, where their entire wealth is split between this family, and so one person owns it, so it would be tricky for them to come up together with enough for a stadium, especially in LA.
But why do they need to go to the city? For example, the Raiders,
as opposed to taking out a loan or something.
Not necessarily a loan per se, but when the Raiders were making their move, trying to make it official, they weren't. I don't know exactly how much is coming from Las Vegas, but I do know that they were getting huge investments from businesses, not the public. So I don't understand why that isn't used more often. I would think if I was a business that had that kind of money, I would love to be able to invest in a stadium that I can take profits of, not just from a football standpoint, but you make a good enough stadium, that stadium's used year round.
Yeah, and I can see it from both sides. Again, using the Stan Kroenke new stadium in LA, that to me only makes sense. If you have the money to fund it and you won't miss it, that's a great investment. That not only are they putting the NFL network facilities right next to there, they're creating a whole new area, and that stadium is going to just balloon up to Jerry Jones-esque money. And wrapping it up, to be honest, if you can get it, then go for it. And that's kind of, I could ask all I want for somebody to fund, for me to get a Hummer. Doesn't mean that I'm going to find any takers. So if you have leverage in life, wield it responsibly. Make sure, try not to hurt anybody on your way up. But if you can use it, go ahead. All right, my last question here, Luke. And this is the one I predicted you're gonna hate me on.
Oh, God.
Ryan Seacrest can start practicing his "This is American Idol" line again. He's finally inked his deal to return as host after months of intense negotiation. Ryan confirmed the news Thursday on Live with Kelly and Ryan, saying he was excited to return and likened it to getting back in a relationship after an abrupt breakup. TMZ broke the story, and Ryan was aiming for somewhere between $10 and $15 million, but the huge hang-up was getting the coveted executive producer credit. Sources involved tell us he did not get the title, and his payday will be closer to $10 million. There was also logistical challenges. Ryan, as first reported by TMZ, would fly back and forth from New York City to LA to shoot American Idol, but a plan was hashed out so none of his jobs would be affected, including his radio gig. So, Luke, with all that being said, will this American Idol reboot be a success or a flop? And who is the best host on television right now?
First of all, I hope that it's a huge flop. I hope it's the biggest flop that has ever flopped in the history of flops.
It is like the opposite side of the pancake, just...
Why is the show still on the air? I thought it was done. I thought it ended like 3 years ago.
Yeah, apparently, who is it? Whoever has it now.
Somebody
ABC,
stupid.
Was it ABC? But whoever it is bought it and then is now revamping it from Fox.
Why would you pay Ryan Seacrest $10 million?
The same reason why they would pay Katy Perry $15 million?
Katy
To be a
Perry.
judge?
Okay, I still think that is, although it's still way too much money to be a judge, at least Katy Perry's actually doing something. Ryan Seacrest just stands there and introduces people. He does not deserve $1 million, let alone $10 million for that. I can do that job for $100,000.
You would
Like,
do it
that's-
for if they pay for your airfare.
Yeah, like this is just,
I'm on TV, Mom.
it's just stupid. Why would you pay $10 million for that? I hope it flops so badly.
All right, and then besides, I suppose, Ryan Seacrest, who is the best host on television right now? It's a little open-ended.
I think the best host on television right now is Gordon Ramsay.
For kids, what show is he hosting right now?
All of them. That's the thing, that he has so many different shows that that I think that you could technically call him a host of. Whether it be
Hell's Kitchen,
or Kitchen Nightmares, or MasterChef, or MasterChef Junior.
When he blows up on Kitchen Nightmares, my little inside left shoulder devil just cackles in glee.
He has a new one called the F Word.
What are you? I'm a loser sandwich. Oh, that's the best moment in television.
It's Idiot Sandwich.
Idiot Sandwich.
So way to mess that up.
Wow.
But no, he has such a very vast array. Yes, you always see him as the a-hole in Kitchen Nightmares and whatnot, but that's really only when he's with professional chefs.
That is true.
When you see him interact with people
the
who
kids
are either kids or people who knowingly aren't professionals, he's very
forgiving.
He's nice. He can be a little sarcastic with adults. But I mean, that's a lot of people
somewhat of his
are.
trademark.
Yeah.
You just have to take that with him.
And I think he's actually really good as a host.
All right, sounds good. All right, that's it. No, I'm sorry. You have one more. Your last one. Your last homer.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh.
Con Air. Peggy Sue Got Married. National Treasure. The Rock. Face Off. Do you know what all these movies have in common?
Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, they do.
Man, that's my childhood right there, though.
Nicolas Cage
Con Air
has an Oscar.
bunny.
Nicolas Cage has an Oscar.
Yeah, that's true.
He had an Oscar literally decades before Leo did. And not only does he have this Oscar, but his money manager took all of his money and ran away. So he was broke, so he just started pumping out movies.
Yeah.
Which may not have been as high a quality as National Treasure.
Right, National Treasure is not just the title of a movie, it's the title of Nicolas Cage.
Accurate.
Yeah.
So what I don't understand, why is there so much hate for Nicolas Cage in the universe? Why? Nicolas Cage is great.
Okay. There's two sides to Nicolas Cage. There's BGR and AGR, which is before Ghost Rider and after Ghost Rider. Before Ghost Rider, he was a respected actor who brought a lot of drama and a certain energy, let's say, to his roles. It was very characteristic to himself, but it was enjoyable to watch. After Ghost Rider, he somehow found it within himself to just create and bring this wild Jim Carrey energy to his Nicolas Cageism, and just totally, unlike Samuel L. Jackson, who plays I don't care, just sleepwalks through a movie and does a fantastic job. Nicolas Cage sleptwalked through every single film and did not do an excellent job. I hearken and plead our listeners to go back and watch just the 10-second clip of him in The Wicker Man of going, the bees, no, It's absolutely hilarious.
The audience should watch Next.
That was stupid.
Watch Next.
That was a stupid movie ending.
Watch Next and wait for it.
The ultimate cheat of an ending. How dare they do that? It's an Inception wannabe before its time. Although, if it inspired Inception, so be it.
Watch Next.
So anyways.
You will not regret it.
I do enjoy some of his earlier films. Con Air is one of the hokey films that I just absolutely love. That is a hidden treasure. So, but besides that, I'm ambivalent to Nicolas Cage. If he actually comes out with something, I don't hold it against him. If the movie looks awful, I won't go see it. I won't see a movie for Nicolas Cage, but I won't not go see a movie because of him either.
I'm waiting for the next National Treasure.
National Treasure, would this be 3? International Treasure. Oh, like the Great Wall of China. Somebody's gonna steal the Great Wall of China. It's so stupid that it might work.
You do realize the second one was international, right?
Not in title.
That's so dumb.
There you go. All right, thank you so much for listening to another great episode of Chopped Greens. For
Luke Wright
and Philip Amerine, we urge you and plead you to go back and listen to some of our archived episodes that can be found on YouTube. As always, you can find all of our new episodes on SoundCloud. And follow both of us on Facebook, and you can find a lot of the older episodes through links we posted there. Thank you so much for listening, and bye.